Welcome back to the My Reader Minutes. Thanks for stopping by. Um, I wanted to talk about Love and Maritinesville. Yes, I said I wasn't going to review it, but I did want to see how they were going to start off the first episode, and I'm glad I watched it. Only because I think based on what I saw and where I think things are headed, I'm not really going to be interested in this season. But I'm glad I watched it. Now it'll never be in the back of my mind like, what are they talking about? Well, it looks like this is on the heels of that YouTube debacle that Martell and Ariane um, did the interview with the girl that was supposed to have gone out to Vegas with all three of them. And supposedly this girl was dating Marceau. But she had, according to her verbiage, her came out of her mouth, she had intercourse with both at the same time in the hotel room, but Martell wasn't in the room. He was gambling. So, looks like this they're filming this on the heels of that interview. Um, Destiny talks to him about it in a segment that they're in. She's going back into real estate. She wants Martell to put on some listings. In midst of the conversation, she brings up the fact that he is still on social media. She talks about how she finds out that Lance has a baby when we said he had a baby, and she denied that he had a baby. Y'all remember that? I do. She was making it seem like he don't have no baby. That wasn't his baby. Y'all need to stop coming on social media saying that, whatever, because that's his daughter's child. I remember all of that. And all of a sudden, he done had a baby. Well, just say, you didn't know about it. And then but the way she talked about it, she said, and I'm jumping around, so I'm not going in order. She basically said that she hadn't spoken to him in a while, and he reached out to her and said, Happy Thanksgiving. And then right after that, that's when he posted about the new baby. And a segment with um Nell and Chris, they talk about they have two new babies. So when did Chris have a baby? Little Chris, the one that kept going back and forth to the clinker. Now all of a sudden he done popped up with a baby. So Lance has a new baby, and so does Chris. And not no, it was mum's the word on little Chris because everybody was looking at the fact that he kept running back and forth back in the clinker, and Nell had to keep bailing him out. So she has two new grandbabies. Um, Everybody seems to be talking to Martell about this interview, saying that it wasn't right. He talks to Nell and Chris about it. He comes over and talks to them. That's what the underlying conversation is about the fact that he's saying this about Marceau and, because him and Marceau is having this beef, right? Wanda comes over, okay, and wants to know if Marceau is lying because she know he lying and this, that, and the other. Now, on her YouTube channel, as she says, she defends Marceau to the utmost. But on the show, it's supposed to be a reality show. Why aren't you giving him the utmost respect and having his back on the show? Because it's supposed to be the same, right? She laying people out for saying stuff about Tisa and Marceau and how Marceau's doing this and Marceau's doing that. No, 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 he ain't doing this on Tisha. And then you get on there in your confessional and say, I know Marceau is lying. What? What? But that's not the kicker. The kicker is they are showing Ariane's likeness on the show. And I don't know if I like where this is going. I don't know if I like where this is going. So I feel like it's an opening up the door because they were showing pictures of her because I guess this is Martel's new love interest. And I guess they have to give him somebody because he's tired of being on there by himself. Destiny was like, finally, you're going to be a one woman man. He was like, yeah, sure. But he's saying Ariana's been there, he had his back, and they've had their ups and downs. And yeah, he's called her a peasant and he regrets, saying that and all that kind of stuff. So he's going back apologizing. And they're putting pictures of her on the episode. If she walks on there on set filming with anybody, she could just be filming with Martell. At that point, I'm turning the TV off. I don't choose to watch if she's on there. I'm sorry. I just can't. I was fine with the fact that okay, you could talk about it. That's your new woman, but she ain't got to come on the show. I feel like it's a part of me feels like that's so mad disrespectful. Something that was created by Martell and Melody. So I feel like now that they're not together anymore, I mean, they stayed on there as long as they could, even being separate, but towards the end, it was really bad. She didn't even want to film with him type thing. It's only going to be one other move, but he was going to want to bring Ariana on the show. And I have a feeling she's coming. The day that she comes on the show, honestly, I don't think I want to watch anymore. I don't believe I will be tuning in anymore after that. And it's my choice. Y'all can sit back and continue to look. I'll just I'll just look at the clips. I don't really want to watch it. Matter of fact, I'm really not interested in all this year anyway. But I did want to see how they were going to start off the storylines. And I see where Martell's storyline is going to go. Um Kimmy is still trying to play around with Maurice. She's giving him trick questions and he was like, she says, so y'all giving DNA, not DNA, NDAs to side chicks? And he was like, I haven't given anyone an NDA. She said, is that really your answer? He said, yeah, you asked me. But he's the lawyer. He's the bright one, right? She said, that's not the answer. The answer is I don't have side chick. Hello? Which again, so then I was thinking back to how Marceau and Tisha's like, yeah, we've been together for 19 years. Tisha's confidence level has shot through the roof. I remember her as Miss Timid Tisha, excuse me, in the first couple of episodes, or actually the first couple of seasons of Love and Merch Huntsville. But her confidence level is through the roof now. Through the roof, and it's showing. She actually looks attractive. You can see she's trying to get her look together. Well, she's got it together. She's cute. But you can see the confidence exuding now, and I like that. I really do. Still, feel about her the way that I do, but I like the fact that she's exuding confidence. Well, anyway, they were sitting there in their confessional, and he said, we've been here for Marcel said, we've been together for what, almost 20 years. We've been on our 20-year anniversary. He said, a decade. Marcel, that's 2 decades, hon. Two. That'd be 2 decades. That's 2 decades. Yeah. So, yeah, this episode, I wasn't really into the Trish and Marquez. I wasn't really into their storyline. He comes in, just walks in the door, and Trish even says, he can't be just walking in my door. Well, obviously he can. Obviously that's what he's been doing because you didn't even say nothing about him just walking through the door. And you do have another man living there. How he just walking through the door like that? I don't care if he's coming to pick up his kids or not. You knock. You don't live here. You don't pay no bills here. You knock. What if they was in the living room getting it in? You knock. Just saying. So then he comes right in the door with all this, energy for the lady that she's sitting there talking to. I don't even know where that came from, what that was about. I really wasn't, I was halfway listening to that segment because I really wasn't interested. So I'm not interested in Trish and Ken's and Marquez's storyline. Um, I don't know where Kimmy is going with her storyline just yet because they really don't give one. They were sitting there talking to Monster or Little Maurice or whatever his name is about colleges. He's thinking about Troy University and Ole Miss. He said, he said he wanted to go to his own schools. He ain't trying to go to his father alma mater. I'm assuming that's why his father moved him down here so he could go to Alabama. But he said Troy University or Ole Miss is what they were looking at. So they were talking about, when you go to college, you're going to have to make, wise decisions. And it's going to be, your boys might be drinking, smoking, whatever. You're going to have to be mature enough to make your own decisions and all this kind of stuff. So then Maurice brings up talking about, and I guess was his way of putting it out there that his little dumb DUI was dismissed. But he was like, "What did everybody say to you about my DUI?" He said they were making jokes about it. He said people, my friends, they told me about it. They were making jokes about it. He said, "Well, was they making any jokes when it was dismissed?" He said, "No." He said, "Yeah, they usually don't." And okay, your little case got dismissed probably on a technicality, not because you weren't that. Okay? Tend to think, think just because a case was dismissed does not mean that the action that caused the case to be established in the first place never happened. It was just dismissed. And it could have been dismissed on a technicality. We don't know why it was dismissed. It wasn't dismissed because, the breathalyzer that you didn't take, all because you didn't have I guess because they didn't have a reading or whatever on what his actual alcohol level was, they got thrown out. The fact of the matter is, you probably reeked of alcohol. I'm sure that's in the report because they locked you up so you could either sleep it off or for it to wear off because they smelled alcohol. Otherwise, you would have been let go on your own recognizance. You had or they wouldn't, or they would have made sure that you got proper medical care. I want to say that he crashed his car, but I don't know for certain, but they would have made sure he had the medical treatment, or can someone else pick you up? They took him in, they booked him, but because they didn't have um any I guess results on a breathalyzer, maybe it got thrown out that way. I don't know. But point being is that doesn't mean that it didn't happen. Didn't mean that it didn't happen. I don't know about this one, y'all. I don't know about this one at all. Yeah, I know Miss Ariane is probably tickled pink that her pictures showed up on the show. Y'all don't tag Melody. Y'all don't be in Melody's DMs talking about Ariane's pictures on the show. I'm sure Melody knows. Okay? Don't tag her. She don't care. And if she does, let her care on her own. I'm sure if she's interested in what's going on in Love and Marriage Huntsville, she can tune in herself. Nobody needs to carry her anything. Leave that lady alone, please. Keep throwing it in her face. Look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this. I don't know if they're being mean-spirited about it, or they call themselves being helpful, like, oh, Melanie, you might want to see this. No, she's already made it clear. Leave her out the group chat. She don't care. Okay? Do I watch the second episode? I don't know. I think I will watch, just because as soon as they show Arion in the flesh, that's it for me. That's when I exit stage left. Yeah, that's when I'm out of here. How about you? Yeah, we gone. Y'all, please like, share, and subscribe. Tell me what you think. Did you get an opportunity to watch Love and Marriage Huntsville Season 10, Episode 1? And I think it's Season 6, really. Even though on my own app, it says it's Season 10. They're calling it Season 6. I don't know what season it is, but the first episode that premiered this year was tonight. So tune in. Let me know what you think, and we can talk about it down in the comments. Everyone be blessed. Peace.